are you going to call? Not me. Hi guys, how are you? I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I don't know if I'm gonna wear this. I actually put on my Instagram to figure out if people think I should. I did a poll, so we'll see. I kind of want to though, but it's so big. Did you guys see how big it is? I'm 5 foot, so it doesn't work out. I am so excited because I love Ghostbusters dearly. I used to watch the original Ghostbusters every single night before I went to sleep when I was like 15 for no reason at all. It was soothing. So when Afterlife came out in 2021, I was really skeptical to see how it played out as a reboot, and I can't tell you how surprised and how happy I was with the result. I have never been a big fan of a film that comes back and does a reboot that gives so much fan service, and I understand why some people don't like that, and usually I'm the person who's on the outs who doesn't quite get the fan service for that particular franchise. There's definitely been some, but there's been nothing that's as nostalgic to me as Ghostbusters, and with that new film and the way they created a reboot with such awesome new characters and then meeting with the OG and all of this, I can't get over the sound. The sound in that movie is fantastic. Basically, the composer mimicked all of the sound beds from the original. It's just a beautiful mirroring of the original film, but also with some really exciting, bold new characters. And those little tiny marshmallows, they're so cute. I just love it. I love it. And I'm really hoping this second edition to the reboot, Frozen Empire, is going to be just as fun as Afterlife. This one teams the original cast, of course, with the new rebooted cast, which includes McKenna Grace, Paul Rudd, Finn Wolfhard, Carrie Coon, and Celeste O'Connor. This one takes place when the discovery of an ancient artifact unleashes an evil force, and Ghostbusters, new and old, must join forces to protect their home and of course save the world from evil. I am very excited to check this out, and I'm going to the premiere here in Perth, and they also have some really fun things apparently going on at the entrance of this premiere, so I'm excited to check out what that might be. But as always, the main event is the screening, and I really hope that this is good as the last entry. I recently watched Afterlife again, and I actually did a recap video just to catch you up if you haven't got time to watch it, so check that out. And let's go see the new Ghostbusters, spoiler free. I'm gonna let you know if the hype is worth it. Is it worth it? I'm scared. Let's go, guys. The poll landed at 100%, so I guess I'm wearing this. That was such a fun premiere. I just got finished watching Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and let me tell you, it wasn't that frozen. The weirdest thing, and my first reaction, is that film, it has like 30 minutes maybe that there is the Frozen Empire. Everything that I actually did watch this trailer, by the way. I know I don't normally watch them, but I do make an exception for Ghostbuster films. And the trailer, that happens like very far into the film. The film I enjoyed, but I don't think it's as good as Afterlife. I think that they did so well with the material in Afterlife and how Afterlife mimics the first original Ghostbusters film, and this time they had to go off script or, like, pave their own way, which I think it is time to do. But because of that, there was a lot of complications in the setup. I don't think that this is necessarily a bad thing. Ghostbusters is a very strange balance of this kind of kooky, spooky magic and also science, and obviously it's very science focused. And in this film, they spend a really long time setting up different lore, introducing new characters, and going through all of that. There was so many side plots going on and so much to look at. I felt it moved quite fast, but it did have a long period of lore where it was bouncing around what could happen, how they're working together as a team, new characters, all of that kind of stuff, and then just a very short, we got to wrap this up kind of payoff at the end. So I thought the balance was a little bit off, but I do think that's because in the last one they really relied on just mimicking the first film, if that makes any sense. So they had their work a little bit easier. I mean, it is a hard thing to reboot, but they had the story there, where this one, they're doing a whole new original story. I loved so much of this film and the way it looked, that it really kept the integrity from the original films that we love, and this one is set back in New York and back in the original firehouse, and I just love that idea, and especially the opening. The opening for this film is so fantastic because it's very old. Obviously it's New York, but it's old Hollywood in the way it's put together, and you can really feel that. I felt like the film has this beautiful mix of CGI, but then also, as I said, it keeps the integrity of the original films in terms of if they have ghosts and things come back, and this one has a lot of Easter eggs, again, from the original film that we didn't get, from the original film that we didn't get last time, and they look exactly the same. I don't know how it did it, and it's just such a beautiful meeting of these shiny new characters, and then also the old way that some of these ghosts and entities looked. But in saying all of that, the new entity, the big boss in this film, I didn't really love the way it looked. It was very scary, almost very Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark-esque, a lot of that kind of thing, and I just didn't feel like it fit into, a Stay Puft universe. Everything else fits so perfect in this franchise, and even all the new characters, and I just didn't know about that entity. It's very heavy on the CGI, and just the way it didn't really fit with it, and that's just how I felt in terms of that. So it felt like a different kind of energy, and it almost, even though this film is PG, it felt very dark. That part of it was very solemn and scary, where I don't think that there has been, and I know obviously when I watched Ghostbusters for the first time, it wasn't when it first came out, but I don't know if it was intended to be as scary as this new boss and parts of this new film really were. I'm not saying it's full on scary, it's still PG, but I did get a jump scare, and I did feel like it was very spooky compared to the other one. It has that strange vibe that's brought in with introducing a new character. Speaking about characters, a lot of new characters, all very fun, but Podcast really threw me in this one. This is what happens when you work with children actors. If you know Podcast from Afterlife, he looks like a different kid because he looks like an adult now, and he was such a cute, funny, strange kid, would have the most odd lines and was very curious about everything. And I don't know if that translates when you go through those awkward teenage stages. So I felt like his character was a little bit off, but I did like seeing him. But I also do feel like we've gotten to the point where there's so many oddballs in these films that it's really hard to keep up with all of them. And I really found myself curious who was going to get the funny line in every scene, especially when you have, Bill Murray as well as Podcast, and then there's some other actual comedians that are actors in this film now. So it was very interesting. It was very interesting. Even though the film is very heavy on lore, and if you like spooky lore, you'll probably like that, but it's very heavy on trying to follow the storyline, even though it's very basic, scary ghost, we must do something, when you look at the bigger picture, which I guess works for a younger audience who's watching it. I felt like they also balanced in the wholesomeness, which we have seen throughout all of the Ghostbusters films really well. This one is more about extension on families, because we've obviously seen Paul Rudd's character get cozy with the mum in the last film in Afterlife, so it was kind of a continuation of that, and talking about blended families, which I really liked that as an undertone. I feel like they bookshelved it really well, but it's a lot to take in with everything else I've listed. And as a continuation to Afterlife, this film did still give a lot of fan service, so I appreciated that, but not as much as the first, and I'll be interested to see if there is a continuation on from here, if that keeps getting less and less. And the music as well also does the same as the last one. It mimics the original score, which is its intention, and it's just beautiful. It's a lovely, it feels like an old kind of Hollywood film in some essence, where it's big action scenes. It feels like the blocking of it, the people involved, it feels very grand and exciting, and I guess that's just another way of copying the first film and really having that New York feeling, so I really enjoyed that. I really liked the setting for this one. Overall, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was a lot to follow. There's a lot of lore, but I like that. That's what I like about Ghostbusters. It's looking at ghosts scientifically and trying to break that down, and it makes it less scary. So that's something interesting and something different that not many other films do. I'm gonna give this one a 7. I didn't enjoy it as much as Afterlife, but I still think it's very much worth a watch, and I could see myself watching it again in the future. For originality, I'm gonna give it a 3, to be fair. It wasn't the most original story. Again, good versus evil. You can listen to the explanations for everything, or you can just watch the goodies fight the baddies. And for scare, I'm going to give it a 2. I don't think it's a scary movie. It's just a bit darker than the other ones. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I certainly did. That was a really fun premiere, and kind of was let down that the film wasn't as great as the first one, but to be honest, it's really hard to strike that twice, so I'm not surprised. I just hope that they're going to still stick around and maybe do a third one. Thank you for being so patient with me. I will have a video out on Immaculate tomorrow, so be tuned for that. And then I promise I'm giving you things I love in horror movies, my yums. I promise it's coming. There was just so much content I had to get out first. You can check out these videos I've worked on lately, and I'll see you guys very soon. Stay safe and stay spooky. Bye, friends.